Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? All right.
Good. All right. So let's start going.
I am
Wednesday
Johan.
morning, 9 o'clock. Everybody's still asleep? No, not yet. Welcome to Rich Client Java, still going strong. The session formerly known as the RIA panel. So this year is the 7th edition. We're trying to convince people that Rich Client in Java is still a good thing. And as our third panelist, just on short notice, he managed to come. That's nice.
We purposely turned your mic off.
Yeah. Get here.
I have rehearsal. You stay here.
All right.
I'll tell you later.
So let me introduce the people here. So if they need introduction, so anybody not knowing Kevin,
Hello,
that
hello,
would be
hello.
him. If you want to know more about him, make sure you'll be at the community keynote tonight.
Community keynote.
So yeah, Kevin is probably a well-known.
They call it something different now. It's not the community keynote. I don't know what it's called. But they're changing the names of everything. We changed the name of this panel. We changed the name of the conference. We changed the name of the community keynote. So
Changed our own names?
that's good.
Your
We
name?
Yes, I
Your
was
name's
Johan.
I am now
Yeah.
Kevin. Hey, that's a good thing. Hey,
My name's Sven.
yeah, that's right.
Here's Sven, and I'm just the
Yeah.
guy next to you.
You should probably explain what this panel, the purpose was before and how it's evolved. Maybe to spend 30 seconds.
It'd be good if I knew as well.
Yeah. Just first let me get through the introduction. So we got Sean, who's doing like spacey things with a rich client Java, and who's like a hardcore fan.
Very.
Yeah. So if you go to him and tell him use JavaScript, no, you don't want to do this. Johan was supposed to be here, but due to family reasons, he had to get back. So we.
Yes. I'm
Johan,
here.
you look terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
And since you're now Johan, you must now be pro JavaFX and
always.
Java on mobile and things. So you can't be the HTML5 guy. So that's why we got Gertchen on short notice, because he's the Oracle Jet person. So some real HTML5 JavaScript front-end expertise here.
But I have a long history of Java and Swing.
Yeah, so we all do.
We can talk about that.
Yeah, I have a slide for that one. So and, I also have a long history in doing Swing applications and rich client stuff at Airbus. And yeah, so last afternoon, NetBeans, Apache NetBeans incubating, won the Duke's Choice Award. So it's a still alive and kicking. And I think the same goes for things like IntelliJ or Eclipse. So big projects using Java for rich client applications. And I got a short promotion video to show you. That's Sean, maybe some audio from you.
So if you, this is an example of some tools that are being built, modern tools now using Java, JavaFX, and NetBeans in this case. In fact, we're using NetBeans 9 now on Java 11. But this is a tool that some of you may have already seen in one of our other presentations, and you'll probably see briefly in the community keynote if you manage to get there. It's a tool for designing trajectories and transfers for spacecraft in and around the moon and the moons of the solar system, ranging from our moon to Europa, Enceladus, et cetera, et cetera. So this is an example of what can be done, and a great example of why there is a Java rich client presence still in this ecosystem.
So it's probably the good point is to reflect on the last 6 editions. So when we started this, more than 7 years ago, probably the idea was a lot of things were already going web, and I think there's a bigger community of people that are not really publicly visible, doing things for big engineering companies behind closed doors. And we always thought it was a nice idea to have a platform for them to communicate and see if they're still out there. So that was the original beginning, and then I think it was just like picking up all the heat about HTML5 wins, and you have to go for web for everything, and then suddenly all the phones got web, and then suddenly all the phones got native again, and then suddenly nobody knew what to do, and So we're here to answer questions, discuss things all around those technologies. But the first thing we want to see is what you're using. So let me skip. So we got like a poll. So please be good with us. So who is using HTML5 as a development tool?
Nice.
A couple.
Keep your hands up. Let's see them. We
So-
want to count.
We got
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 ish.
So
You forgot me.
11.
All right.
Okay.
Now that includes Electron. We want to talk a little about Electron too. Does that
Electron?
add in?
Adam?
Similar frameworks.
Electron is not a native framework. Okay, Electron is HTML5 and wolf's clothing or sheep's clothing.
So anybody using Swing?
Love that swing.
Wow.
Nice.
Get a picture of that one, huh?
Okay, so do I just subtract the HTML5 people from the Okay, well, keep the hands up, damn it.
We could
Okay.
split them. HTML5 on this side of the room and the Swing people on the other side of the
You
room.
guys want to do that?
Here's a sub-question. How many of you, with your hands up, with all the Swing people, keep your hand up if you're using the NetBeans platform with that?
It's about like HTML5.
We'll figure out about the platform things and the frameworks probably
Sorry.
a little bit later on. So a lot of people using Swing. Anybody using SWT? So like Eclipse-based?
Which would
Oh,
include the
that's
Eclipse
more.
plugin framework. It includes Eclipse. Okay.
So JavaFX?
Whoa.
Oh, nice.
So that's about the same size as Swing, huh?
Who's using JavaFX with Swing, as in like an embeddable framework, or JFX panels pattern? Keep your hands up if you're
Maybe.
using the
He's
same-
not sure.
I mean,
He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's okay.
This is specifically putting the two together in the same application. That's
more confident
actually
now.
quite a bit. I have a question. Keep your hands up. All right. Come on, get your calories burnt. So who's doing that because it's from the ground up development, or put your hands down if it's not a legacy? Okay, so everybody who's doing that pattern, it's because you have some legacy applications and you want to upgrade it with some new visuals. Okay, got it.
Sean, I have one question for you.
Surely.
Are you trying to overpower me on this panel by standing?
The question is, am I trying to overpower Kevin by standing? And the answer is, you are my power. You
There
are
we
my
go.
strength.
There
So
we go.
You enable me to stand. I will sit so you don't feel nervous. Okay. Sorry.
All right.
Where'd everybody go? Oh, there you are.
Okay. So how about the frameworks you used? So we already had NetBeans RCP. Eclipse, I think, probably the Swing, the SWT guys. Anybody using Griffin? Griffin, okay, no show. Is anybody doing Java on mobile? Yeah?
Gluon.
It's really good stuff.
All right.
If Johan was here, he would raise his hand.
Yeah, you would
I
raise
will-
your hand like both
Delegate
of
vote.
them. Delegate vote. All right. So, things like, for the three HTML5 people probably, jQuery, Polymer, Angular, Knockout, OracleJet.
It's new. It's new.
You?
Next year. Next year
Okay.
we'll ask again.
It's new.
React,
All right.
Vue.js.
Ooh,
So yeah, it
cutting
seems
edge.
all those frameworks are used, so all across the board. And languages. Everybody doing Java? Yes.
That was for the cloud.
Okay.
Oh no. You're getting into the right mood already? Yeah?
It's already starting up. I got the face paint ready.
Yeah, okay. Anybody using Groovy? Wow.
Anybody using Gradle for their build system, which is Groovy.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. There the hands go up.
Yeah.
Oops, you're using Groovy, whether they like it or not.
Maybe they're using Kotlin.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Oh yes, but I'm probably 100% more than last year. So Kotlin was like a no-show last year. So that's why there's next year maybe. Scala, Clojure, always some Clojure. Okay, no Lisp here. JavaScript, yeah, okay. Python. Anybody doing deep learning using Python and Java front ends maybe? So I delegate a vote for Johan.
Okay.
All right. What do we have? Yeah, I got like the typical questions. So, we saw that all of you, or all of you, most of you have like legacy applications. You like using your legacy applications with all the old Swing and JavaFX stuff. Would you prefer to like start from scratch? So, who of the people who has legacy applications would like to use JavaFX in the Greenfield project? Any one of those legacy people saying, we need web?
Why?
Not so many.
There's two. Why? Do either of you want to comment as to why you want to move from legacy to web? Is there a specific reason? It's fine. I'm not going to be mad much.
Yeah, over there.
We get a little bit mad, not very mad.
Easier rollout and release process, so we don't have to install on the client.
Okay, how many clients are you targeting? 30,000. Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I had that many users.
30,000 is okay for web.
It's
It's a good reason.
Okay. I'd like to ask a question. So my feeling is that the desktop, so Java Swing, JavaFX, NetBeans RCP, makes sense if you're doing scientific applications or network satellite management or military type applications. And the browser makes sense if you're doing customer-facing applications like in finance, logistics, healthcare, whatever. Who would agree with that? Well, if you're not agreeing with that, I wonder why.
Obviously, there's a gray area. Like my company has a web front-end ground system for spacecraft missions, but those are the very simple missions, the cookie-cutter missions.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're thinking about building that with the web?
Well, we already built it with a web.
There
actually.
you
go. And it,
Say that again.
it's called Meridian, and it
Okay.
looks great, and it's well priced for federal agencies that have space missions. Also, any European agencies that might want to buy from an American.
So everyone here from the legacy Swing deployment people using WebStart?
WebStart was great. How do you feel about WebStart kind
He's
of
stealing my questions.
going away? Sorry.
No, go on.
How do you feel about, anybody want to comment on your feelings on WebStart kind of going away? Okay, we've got some folks over there.
That was an easy
I
shot.
saw two hands, so first response.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so in general, I think WebStart is a technology that do not have a bright and shiny future. But I think that, announcing that it will go away in spring 2018 and remove it in the same year, not even 6 months later, that really sucks.
Yeah, I have to admit that's kind of short notice because it does fill a valuable role. It is a dated technology. What do you think?
So pretty much the same. We've got like 42,000 users across the world, and we're in that gray area where we've got Swing actually interacting with Excel. So I work for a company called Excel for apps, and we're horrified. We've got like 42,000 customers out there, and pretty soon Java WebStart is gone, and how do they launch? So,
Great question. Now there's actually quite a few, from what I'm understanding, commercial replacements that are out there that are evolving. For example, JPro, if you want to convert everything to be rendered on the client or on the server side using like a Swing JavaFX mixture, and then it's rendered in the browser like a browser application, as long as you don't have anything too crazy, like 3D nodes or super high performance canvas type stuff, it just works. So check out JPro. Alternatively, I did see, and I can't name it off the top of my head, but I saw it on the floor the other day, a couple vendors offering WebStart, custom WebStart alternatives. So effectively, it is JNLP, it is WebStart, but it's not an Oracle JDK type solution. Yeah, well, I don't know if their products are open source. I didn't read the pamphlet deep enough. So get over to the Developers Exchange floor. I saw the flyers. I used one as a placemat. I mean, not because I disrespect the product, but because I needed that because I was eating ice cream and it was all over the place.
So, any questions?
All right. This is the interaction we're looking for. This is the type of discussion that should be happening. Camera.
I'm glad you predicted that I am the type of discussion you were looking for. No, I just wanted to say a little bit more about the desktop versus web thing. My thought is about usability when I want to be able to use the operating system, windowing system, to be able to move around simultaneous views of things, be able to test things, change things back and forth, as opposed to sort of a more linear process like you would with TurboTax in a web browser. So that's what's keeping me hoping that desktop client stays lively.
Sure.
Well, the good news, it is lively, because if you're living in the JavaFX world, you have a good future ahead of you. However, GearChain has some specific thoughts.
So if you're talking about a window manager and moving windows around and etc. and that usability aspect, now that NetBeans is in Apache, it's even a better reason to consider using that as your platform, because it comes with a window manager. And it comes with all these generic utilities, and it's got a pub/sub system. So NetBeans isn't simply an IDE. Beneath it is an application framework, which Sean uses in his NASA stuff, and Sven uses as well. And a lot of large scientific and military type applications are written on top of it. It's free, it's open source, it's on Apache. You can contribute to it. You can join the community. It had to be said. It had to be said. And we won a Duke's Choice Award yesterday, so we must be good.
And
It's
Sean,
good
I think maybe this is a good kind of segue into what Electron is for those who haven't tried it. And so I think you specifically talked about not wanting to use web technologies because of the lack of like a windowing system, right?
So maybe it's a good idea that you name an application that's written in Electron that probably
There's
everybody is
few-
using.
Yeah, is anyone using Slack? Right, I think
Slack?
everyone's
Slack?
using Slack.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, so on and on. There's several.
But you see it being relevant for really large systems or for more medium, small size?
So the question is Electron relevant for large systems versus a natively built application built in JavaFX or Qt, et cetera?
Well, I think it definitely can succeed in both of those environments, both small, able to get something up really quickly, and then as well as large enterprise applications. I think, even though you think about Slack as being really simple,
Right.
but it's still with all the plugins and all the groups, and I mean, that's a really complex application. I'm sure if you went to go write that yourself, it would take a very, very long time and a lot of heavy lifting. But basically, I think, if we look out to this room and we ask how many people are doing a little web, a little JavaScript, it's sort of everyone. It's sort of that language that is everywhere. Everyone understands quite a bit, and so I think,
Like mold.
yes.
It's a little bit everywhere. You can't really get rid of it completely.
But
Sorry,
is-
go on.
It is a good option out there in Electron. So this, my team at Google, we've built a couple apps recently on Electron. I work on the Google Home team, and we're sort of simulating the platform or simulating Google Home with Electron. So we have a simple Electron app that kind of pretends as if it's a Google Home that we give out to partners to do simulation, more of like a test harness. You can click through and simulate some of the behaviors.
Is that something that you can show? Is there a live
I can't show it. No, not right now.
So let's talk a little bit about Electron versus JavaFX, let's say, because or JavaFX/Swing, okay, as green sky or blue sky new development. Somebody with a suit and a tie at your company comes to you and says, "I need you to make me a tool by blah," and it's a short turnaround. You have a couple months, let's say, and it's not a big application, but it's going to be there's going to be some publicity to it, so people are going to see this. This isn't throwaway. And you want it to run on a desktop. This is not a web app. Would you use JavaFX or would you use Electron? And obviously it's going to be scenario dependent, right? So let's get that debate started. First, who uses Slack? Raise your hands. Now keep your hands up. Who here knows what Slack is doing with 2 gigs of RAM and 5% of your CPU while it's idle? Does anybody? You know what's going on? So Google's getting all your data constantly, right? And then in addition to that, what else is it doing with 2 gigs of RAM?
Do we have anyone using VS Code?
Yeah.
Another.
Yeah. It's still parsing that first JSON it received. It's just cranking on it. What do I do? So we'll start the debate with that first volley.
Yeah, Adam. I missed what you said, Sean, but Adam is also. Anyone using the Adam editor, sort of? Yeah. Sublime. It's not Electron, but I felt the need.
Emacs?
Oh my.
Emacs? No? Okay. I had to do this.
Yeah. Boxers, briefs.
So does
Commando.
so now that I've said disparaging remarks about Electron, and you understand that if you back Electron, you're wrong. Who here thinks they know the answer to what types of scenarios Electron would be a good fit for? Oh, this one should be good.
He's about to say everything. You don't need to pass the mic.
So actually, I wrote like 1 month ago from an open source developer who contributed to Chromium the drivers for an Xbox gamepad. So this is now part of every Atom-based app, right? So I think making Xbox games would be a good fit, right?
Okay, yeah. I like that, actually. There was somebody else.
So in my opinion, Electron would be it would be a good fit depending on the sort of people you have. That's one. I'm from Iceland, and it's much easier to get front-end people than Java people. So that's one. No. You Java people live in the server.
Cloud native.
No, and also if it's a really short-term project, then because of the ecosystem you have in the JavaScript world, it's probably a quicker startup.
So in general, I agree with that. You're probably going to, if let's say it's a 2-week turnaround, let's say it's an X week turnaround, you're probably going to, the X is going to be smaller than Y for the equivalent JavaFX app, unless of course you have a built-up library. You know, it's all relative, right?
He also has a nice shirt on.
Oh yeah, he does know what he's talking about. Anybody else have some thoughts on that? Which side of the debate are you on? The right side or the wrong side? Oh, okay, all right. So why are you going to use JavaFX? Tell us.
Actually, it's more of a question because is JavaFX like multi-platform compatible? Can I run the same app on Linux, on Mac, and?
So the answer is yes. It's cross-platform. The details are that under the hood, there are native implementations for video drivers, et cetera, hardware acceleration, that sort of thing, to support the various hardware accelerated aspects of it. You don't have to worry about that. So when you compile it and you build and you link your jar, the jar is cross-platform, okay? If you want to package your application, you do have to compile and package it, at least as far as I know, on whatever system you would like to deploy it to. But that's a one-time step. So it's like any other build system in that regard.
And Sean, I think I should represent our missing panelist and ask if there is, when you talk about this cross-platform, is there any options for Android and iOS for mobile development with JavaFX?
I am so glad that you asked. Because the nice thing about JavaFX is that not only is it cross-platform to the Linuxes and the Windows of the world, and ARM. Okay, good luck running Electron on ARM. I suppose it's possible. If you think 2 gigs is okay on your desktop, good luck on a Raspberry Pi. But if you use some commercially available products out there, Gluon's products, which everybody knows I'm a big fan, but it's true. You get their tools, and if you develop your application in JavaFX, develop it on Windows. I use Windows at work, and I just hit transpile, which I forget the exact Gradle task that I hit, and it outpops an Android APK. That's it. It just works, and then you download it to your tablet, and it just works. And you're probably thinking, well, it's not that simple. Well, I mean, obviously, if you develop a JavaFX application that's intended for a mouse and intended for a big screen, you're going to have usability issues because you're not going to have said mouse. But again, JavaFX has all the support for touchscreen stuff built right into the language, and it has for like 5 years now, 6 years. So really, if you know you're going to be deploying to both a desktop and, let's say, a touch device like a phone or a tablet, you just add the necessary touch controls in addition to your standard keyboard and mouse controls, and you're golden.
Anybody tried the augmented reality app down in the hub? The chess piece hunting game.
Little augmented reality with
Yeah.
JavaFX. Yes.
Yeah, that's a JavaFX application
Get a little
that
dookie.
you install on your phone. I think it's an awesome example of what can be done with the language and the toolkit.
Looks like we have a comment regarding the transpilation toolchain used with Gluon and JavaFX down to Android and iOS.
I just wanted to add that Gluon also includes a lot of custom controls that have been specifically tooled for the mobile environment. So if you're thinking of doing a mobile app, there's really very little startup time to get some simple app going. It'll work both on Android and iOS. For iOS, you do need a Mac.
There are additional things like integration with the sensors from the mobile devices and stuff, so they're providing libraries for that as well.
How many
cross-platform.
people have tried Gluon? Yeah. Good.
Can I ask you a question, Sean?
Shoot.
So, do you have experience combining JavaFX with Swing, and what were the results of that? And why would you do that?
So the question was, does Sean have experience using JavaFX with Swing, and do you have any experience?
And
Just
why-
put it on the mic for the recording.
And why would you do that to yourself?
And I don't know why you, he does a lot of things to himself.
So,
but
yeah. I don't know what
That's
you're
not
talking
what
about. I'm not self-abusive at all. So, okay. So, what's up? You have a question? Oh.
Oh.
We have an application where we use JavaFX and Swing, and it's actually pretty widely used. Many of you might have heard of it. It's Whirlwind, and it's a NASA product that's pretty much the only game in the town, only way to do mapping that we're aware of using Java right now. So if there's any alternatives, that would be great, but that's when we use it.
So you took the words right out of my mouth. And I do have an alternative for you. Are you NASA federal? Are you contractor? You're government, though? There's a U.S. Air Force alternative called JView. I'll talk to you more later. It's essentially they're trying to make a U.S. Air Force equivalent to SDK, and they repeat a lot of the stuff that Whirlwind does. You know how government is. You mean the Whirlwind group? Yeah, out at Ames. Yeah, it is what it is. So you're not going to get many updates. Okay, so we should talk afterwards. So Whirlwind was one of the big reasons why I did a lot of the let's start with Swing and let's add JavaFX. And so to answer Hyo-chan's question, I had to make a lot of ground system type tools, especially in the last 5 years, which I mean, let's face it, if you have an Earth orbiting satellite, you want to see a 3D globe, and of course Whirlwind is the de jure selection, like she said. And so that's OpenGL, to be sure, but it uses a Swing container. And so if you want to have good modern controls in and around that, you've got to mix the two together. And you use a JFX panel, which is a built-in Swing container class, which synchronizes the threaded runtimes between Swing and JavaFX. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. And I even did it with the NetBeans platform back in the day. Question? Here, can you pass this mic? It's like a hot dog.
We're the same. We work in defense. And honestly, this has been really painful, switching from Swing to FX, because we have 2 million lines of code.
Ooh.
And
Can I borrow some? I need some code.
It's sophisticated. I can't tell you all the details, or I'd have to have you disappeared, and everybody needs you guys.
Yeah.
It's a simple app.
We've been working on this for probably 3 years, and honestly, we've got another 2 years to go. So one of the things that makes us a little bit nervous is it seems that FX is sort of an orphan child. It's not. Swing is native, and FX is not. And now we're at the 6-month release cadence where there's the real specter of things being removed from the core. So it's like, that makes us a little nervous with FX. How's that going to keep up? And what if things are removed? And we got to...
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that. I'm really glad you brought that up, because everybody, I've got people emailing me who I barely know saying, what's going on with JavaFX? The truth is, it's not being orphaned. It was intentionally open sourced completely into OpenJFX. And there's all kinds of reasons for that, but it's for the modularity aspect. If it's going to survive and be fruitful in the brave new future of Java 11 and modules, it had to be removed out of the core of the JDK, along with many other modules. And you're going to see more of that probably. And in that same process, and maybe some of my details aren't quite right, but it's effectively donated to the OpenJDK in its entirety, correct?
I don't know the finer details.
It was already part of OpenJDK before, but it just got its own project as part of OpenJDK.
Right.
And now we have like a different release cycle, if we like. We are not bound to the platform because we in fact never were. We're just bound by the Oracle JDK shipment to the release cycle of the Oracle JDK, because it was never part of any other JDK distributions. So there was no JavaFX on Azul, there was no JavaFX on Red Hat. But now you just get JavaFX binaries from Maven. Isn't that great?
That's a good thing.
So Johan gave a talk on the Champion Summit, and he was like giving the story like, oh yes, he was very enthusiastic about JavaFX being part of OpenJDK and getting released with JDK, and then suddenly he felt like the drain of being part of that release train and all things, and the higher level backward compatibility, you cannot change whatever things. When you're trying to evolve the platform. And now we got all this back. And we were never part of the specification. We were never part of Java SE.
That's a great point.
As a JavaFX community.
Yeah. I believe JavaFX began being bundled with the Oracle JDK in 2011, and I want to say it's Java 7U10, I want to say, or something like that. Well, it was a big deal for me because I got excited because I could finally do the things I've been waiting to do, and so I remember the number.
It's a typical Windows user.
yes. In between rounds of Team Fortress, I'm programming in JavaFX.
No, it's just you get your JDK from Oracle.
That's true. Yep, that's a good point. Yeah.
So you got the JavaFX with your JDK.
Finally,
simple,
but it wasn't.
easy.
It wasn't part of the JDK. It was bundled as a runtime, and they just set up the class path to just work, and so. They continued that with JavaFX 8, with JDK 8. And all they're doing now is saying, okay, we're no longer going to bundle those extra jars. You have to pull them down from from Maven Central or whatever. And in that sense, it's really easy, okay? But this is a classic concern, and I completely understand where you're coming from. The concern that, hey, we've invested so many years into converting our apps or building new apps, and now we're being told that it's going away. It's not going away. It's just where you're getting it from is changing. That's all. You'll get more features faster now. In fact, there's a lot of open source. I'll get to you in a second, man.
And if you're interested in features and support, there are companies providing that, like Gluon. They have a kind of LTS support plan for JavaFX 11. So if this make you sleep better, go for it.
I have an excellent question.
When is NetBeans going to go to JavaFX?
It's probably one of the most asked questions.
I have great news for you. NetBeans is on GitHub, so we accept pull requests.
Wow. That was a much nicer answer than I expected.
Yeah.
So in effect, there is work going on.
Hacker Garden. Great place to
start things.
To start thinking about converting NetBeans to
But
JavaFX.
I would think that one of this aspect of as an earlier person said, of JavaFX being an orphan child of the of Java at the moment does call into question slightly the stability of the platform if we were to move to JavaFX, I think. Aside from the fact that it would take 3 years to actually do, but I would be a bit concerned about what that would mean.
For the folks that don't know, one of the problems with why don't you just rewrite the GUI layers?
That's a massive task.
Right. For back in the day, and here Chan can answer it more precisely, but back in the day, for performance reasons, several of the fundamental basic components that make up the NetBeans platform as a API were written explicitly for Swing. So we're talking things that you don't even see, for better or for worse. And that was a good choice 10 years ago, et cetera. But now, because of that, you can't just say, oh, we will rewrite the top component window rendering layer, because it goes deep fundamentally. So what we have to do is rewrite a lot of low-level things, which can be done, but you're...
But it's actually interesting that there are two projects, one by Sven and one by me, that have made basically a POC taking different approaches, and they're both on GitHub. One is called MFX, which stands for Modular JavaFX, and EFX stands for?
EFX is for EFX.
Okay, EFX. Okay, so these two separate projects, and the aim of them is to, in my case, the implementation detail is that it starts off with the NetBeans file system and then builds JavaFX UI on top of that. So
not quite from scratch, but
yeah,
pretty...
so it rebuilds, it tries to rebuild everything from scratch, and instead of generating Swing components from that file system, it generates JavaFX components.
We had a question?
And also the other thing is performance, actually. I mean, how is the performance of JavaFX for you? Isn't it a bit inferior to Swing, or?
Whoa, hey, whoa. If you had read my June Java Magazine article where I rendered millions of points at 30 frames per second randomly in JavaFX, I don't know.
Well, it's maybe the combination of Swing and JavaFX that would slow things down. So
we would
need to have to go pure JavaFX.
Yes.
We would have to avoid trying to combine them.
For those of you who've done it, when you mix the two rendering frameworks together, what's really happening is there's two rendering threads, and they have to be synchronized, so to speak, not as in the keyword, but just in general. And that's being done under the hood by the JFX panel, but there are limitations to that. And so you're only going to get so much performance out of that. Question?
It's actually a follow-up. So now that JavaFX is in another project, who is maintaining the code base? Like, is Oracle involved?
You are, man. You are.
So there are many people involved. So the OpenJDK project, those people, that community is supporting it. And that includes Oracle. It's not like Oracle got up and walked away from it. They provide resources, although I can't comment. I don't know.
Oracle is still heavily invested. So if you look at the mailing list and the contributors, there are a lot of Oracle names on there. So, but there are more people showing up now.
So just in order, there is a session at 11:30 about JavaFX 11 or JavaFX Next, I think it's called the session. So it's if any of you that are concerned about the future of JavaFX, please go to that session. 11:30, JavaFX Next.
Who is the presenter for that? Is that Kevin?
Kevin.
Okay, so Kevin Rushforth, and this person is a god among people for when it comes to JavaFX. I want to tattoo his name on my arm.
So
he's the leader of the project.
Sean, we'll just call him the smaller Kevin.
I'll call him the compact Kevin. How's that?
So the project is actually co-lead by Kevin and by Johan. So they are both have the same rights, so to speak. So it's like a first step to a real open source way doing that project. Not just like, oh, we are Oracle and we just do everything. No, everybody is happily invited to participate. And what we've seen in the keynote demo, maybe OpenJDK projects may show up on GitHub anytime soon. And that would be like absolutely awesome for doing stuff, I think. So, yeah.
We have a question about the NetBeans platform.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Hi, we've got a decently sized NetBeans platform application. We're on version 8.2. What would you suggest be the future of that application? Should we go to the next version of NetBeans?
That's what you've done, right? You mentioned NetBeans 9.
So what is decent sized? Number of modules?
Yeah, it's got a decent number of modules. It's got a wide variety of modules. So we're using Whirlwind, we're using a 3D view with OpenGL, we're using tables.
What's decent size, like in tens, 50, hundreds
modules?
We've got a couple dozen, I would say.
So what's the domain? Where is it being used? Is it secret?
Mapping, kind of.
Okay.
And
are you allowed to say, is it a U.S. federal agency? Is it a commercial?
We process data for departments of transportation. We collect data for them, and then
yeah, I mean it's a really good time to be on the NetBeans platform, since we're in Apache now, so you can contribute to it. And the good thing is, if you have those skills to create those applications, it means that you have the skills to contribute to the NetBeans platform itself. Like if you have any generic features that you've created that are not in the platform, please contribute them. You know, provide pull requests so that the community can handle that for you, and you can focus on your business. One example is an application called Chartsy, Chartsy.one. If you go just online, and they announced recently, www.chartsy.one, O-N-E. That's an application that was recently ported to Apache NetBeans 9, and they've just recently announced that. I never knew that that application existed. Suddenly there was a tweet saying, hey, we've moved to Apache NetBeans 9. So we also have a faster release cycle now than we used to have, so we're aiming at quarterly. I'm not sure if we're going to handle that, but so yeah, please contribute and move on to keep up with the releases.
So I would add that the major point of moving forward to a newer version of NetBeans is probably if you're moving forward to a newer version of Java. Yeah. So if you want to use your new LTS 11 version, you should be on NetBeans 10, I think.
Which is coming up next month. Yeah, I think we're going to try a little bit to keep track of the JDK releases.
Yeah,
it's like that maybe 2 of the 4 releases. If we do 4 releases, that 2 of them are in sync with the JDK releases. But also, I mean, we're there for more communities than just Java. I mean, it's PHP, C++, whatever. So we also have to keep track of those other.
And we're still caring for backward compatibility.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding Qt versus JavaFX. So it's good.
Yeah, so actually we've been trying to adopt JavaFX, but we run into some performance issues, especially concerned with applications that don't have a lot of memory, and the lack of JavaFX being able to support the graphics card usage. So a lot of our applications have actually transitioned to using C and Qt, and so I was wondering if there's any future for JavaFX and improved performance.
So there's a lot going on there, and I don't think one particular response does that question justice, because there's an iceberg of concern. So you're probably worried about support for JavaFX, like who's going to make it better, who's going to make it faster long term, who's supporting it in general. And I would argue who's supporting Qt. And it's not that I wouldn't bet my horses on that. But it is true that Qt is a fine desktop framework. Let there be no mistake. And it's always going to perform a little bit better than JavaFX, simply because it's C, obviously. So if you're having JavaFX performance issues, I would be concerned. I would want to know what exactly you're having, what you're trying to do. 9 times out of 10, it's just because the implementation isn't correct. And to be fair, that's true with any graphic / GUI framework. There's always a right way, and then there's a really tricky fast way, blah, blah, blah. But if you're really concerned about access to the underlying toolkits, frameworks, specifically like OpenGL, here's what you can do with JavaFX. You can wait, because because one of the things that they want to do, one of the most hotly desired things now that we moved to the OpenJDK, OpenJFX type platform, is to open up the underlying private APIs for OpenGL and DirectX. They were covered up before because the whole point was to be hide that from the user. But why not make it available at your own risk, so to speak? Okay, that would be good. There is a project out there, which admittedly, we have 1 minute, which is admittedly focused on a gaming platform. However, it's called FXGL, and it is actually a mix of JavaFX with an OpenGL backend, and you can render just about anything. And the guy who made it has put it all out there for free, and he continues to develop it. He's got a PhD in computer science, and that's what he built his PhD on. And he uses Kotlin as a primary layer of development. So if you can do it, you can write in JavaFX and use his framework, or you can use Kotlin. So we only have 1 minute.
Yeah. So.
What else did you want to show? A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Go on.
that's the way it is.
Or maybe
All
I can quickly plug something else.
You want to?
Yeah. So I was involved with the NetBeans platform and still am for a long time, like within Sun and then Oracle. But I've the last few years been working on a different project connected to JavaScript, because Oracle itself is moving a lot of its, or most of its, or all of its front end throughout its cloud product suite to JavaScript. So there's a strategy called Oracle Jet, which stands for Oracle JavaScript Extension Toolkit. It's a component library, it's an architecture, it's convention over configuration, it's patterns and templates, and it's used throughout Oracle. And it's free and it's open source. And anyone can use it. So if you go to oraclejet.org, you'll find all that stuff there. And I can really honestly promote both these separate technologies, because the one is really for these customer-facing apps, and the other one is for more scientific apps. So Java Swing is perfect for that purpose, and JavaScript, for example, via Jet, is perfect for that, for those other use cases.
All right. So, thanks for showing up. Thanks for showing some love for rich client Java, and hope to see you maybe next year, and bring back your applications, and everybody who can speak about the applications, do so publicly so we get more coverage. Thanks.